Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we have few graphic novels that I would like to review. These are both Marvel and DC graphic novels, and all of them I have purchased it from Amazon. So let's do a quick review of all these graphic novels. So the first book that we have is from Marvel What Ifs collection, and it's Marvel's What If collection volume 2. There's also a volume 1, volume 3, and volume 4, which I don't currently have in my possession, but I want to add that to my collection very soon. So let's check out what this is all about. So you may have seen the Marvel's What If series that premiered on Disney Plus Hotstar recently, and it was based on this very comic. And you can see the art. There are some alternate stories, like it's some alternate take on some of the origin stories of Marvel heroes. And you can see the first title is What If the Conan the Barbarian Walked on Earth. So I'm going to show you a few pages of to show you what the artwork looks like. And one of the main reasons for me purchasing is not only the story but also the artwork. Like, this is the, the silver age, bronze age kind of artwork, the 80s 90s, that I love reading. Because although I'm a fan of the new artworks, but I have like more of the classic Marvel artworks. So that's the reason I always buy those comics, those graphic novels, which has like a classic silver age touch to it. So you can see some other title like Fury What if Sergeant Fury and its horns fought in World War II in outer space? So yeah, it's quite a collection of some really interesting stories, like some alternate. You can see the Watcher here. He is the one narrating the entire story, and he's someone who doesn't really interfere, but he's been given the duty of watching and observing what what the various events are happening in all over across the, not only the universe but across the multiverse. So we have some Nova stories here. So it's really some really great stories here are presented here. And um, as you can see, the artwork is really magnificent here. And this is a story about what if Doctor Strange was a disciple of Dormammu. Like, what if he was brainwashed and joined the bad side, the evil side, rather than joining the good side and becoming the Sorcerer Supreme. So this is one of the another collection. And then there's a Spider-Man story as well. Like, you can see what if Spider-Man had never become a crime fighter. And spoiler, but I think it's we all can like see what if Uncle Ben never died, and how does then Spider-Man's journey would have been. As what would have he done, what had he not lost Uncle Ben in his life. And you can see the artwork here. It's I'm a big fan of Spider-Man, and I'm a big fan of classic Spider-Man tales. And you can see he's meeting Fantastic Four, he's meeting the Avengers, the X-Men, the Daredevil. So yeah, this is another story. And then this story is followed by what if the Avengers fought the Kree Skull War, and there's an alternate take to it. And I'm trying to find the page here, but yep, this is the opening page. Um, Without Rick Jones. So what if they were present in the Kree Skull War without Rick Jones helping them out? So you can see this is the classic art, and I really am a big fan of such an art. So this is really some great stories collection of some. I would like to tell you that all these stories, like every what if story, is not connected like they are in the TV series. You can read any story, start reading any stories, and you wouldn't be needing any previous stories to like catch up what's going on. So it's really a nice collection of stories here, like it's Spider-Man, Avengers, Fantastic Four, X-Men. And there's also some bonus stories like what if Aunt May was bitten by the spider rather than Peter Parker. And it's basically there's like 370 pages here, so it collects quite a big material, and it's volume 2 in the collection. So as I told you, there's volume 1, volume 3, volume 4, and there's also omnibus format, so which I intend to collect on a later date. So yep, this was our first graphic novel here, which was Marvel's What If. So let's come to our second graphic novel that we have today here, and this is Batman the Bronze Age, Batman Brave and the Bold, Volume 1. So this book also has multiple issues, multiple books, and this is the volume one of. And again, as I told you, one of the main reasons why I have this book in my possession is because of the classic art. As you can see, the writers Bob Haney, Mike, and Marv Wolfman. Neil Adams does the artistic work. So again, this is one of the very classical stories, and I can show you. So zoom in. So yes, as I told you, one of the main reasons for me buying these graphic novels is the artwork, and you can see some really classic artwork. And I'll show you more pages. So this is also like a collection of like short Batman stories where he teams up with other Justice League members, like the Plastic Man, like Scepter, like Wonder Woman, and Flash, and Aquaman. And I don't think Superman is present in this edition, but maybe he's present in the volume 2. But here you can see him teaming up with, and you can see the artwork here. This is him, Batman, teaming up with Plastic Man. So this is again like classic Bronze Age art. And I think it's a bit of mixture of Bronze Age and a Silver Age, because I have both the Bronze Age and Silver Age collection, and you can see once again the art. So I'll show you some more. This is around like 456 pages of total, and it has like various collection of stories. The main theme being Batman teaming up with other Justice League members, and basically like fighting some villains that are outside his uh, rogue gallery, which he generally doesn't fight. But it's like what, like you can see Green Arrow is here. So this is basically him teaming up and going on this journey of fighting some larger than life villains. And so these are a bunch of like exciting stories, like some classic old school stories. And it's also has a bit of resemblance to the 1966 Adam West Batman series. Like it takes some inspiration from that as well. So yeah, I think being a Batman fan as well, I really love to collect all these stories. And I really want, and there's also an omnibus for this also, which I intend to have it sooner. So yep, this is our second graphic novel, that is Batman the Brave and the Bold, volume 1. So now we have our third book of the day, which is Avengers Absolute Vision. I did not receive this book in the best of the conditions. As you can see, it was a bit torn, but I was expecting the book to be in like in good shape. But from the pages, you can see it's a very like very old material. So, but I don't blame it as far as I'm, because my main goal is to collect the graphic novels, and it was really like only one in there. So, but I haven't read this, but I think this is another classic Avengers tale, and I will show you some artwork. It's some of the old style Avengers team up stories, which includes not only Avengers but like a bit of Fantastic Four, some X-Men crossover, some Doctor Strange crossover, and a bit of Spider-Man crossover as well. And again, as I said, I'm a very like very fond of the old school artwork of comic, which, because I really feel like if I'm reading a comic, it has to feel like one and not some like new flashy style. But it's good, it's very nice, and you can see there's Spider-Man as well here. So another reason for me buying this comic, because of course if I'm a Marvel fan, and that means that I'm a Spider-Man fan as well. So I haven't read this book yet, but this is one of the earliest collections of the early Avengers stories, which revolves around Vision, and then it also has some classic Avengers villain, classic Spider-Man villain, classic Fantastic Four villain. They all show up, and the pages are really old. It's not glossy. It's like very old style newspaper type of page, but as long as I'm able to get the classic stories of Avengers, I don't mind it. I don't really mind it. So yeah, I'm just going to show you the artwork, and so that you can decide whether you want to have this book in your collection or not. It's a very old school book, old style artwork. So this is Avengers Absolute Vision. The fourth book we have is a bit of interesting one, because this is the Amazing Spider-Man versus the Vulture, and it is like it's not really a it's a different type of comic graphic book, graphic novel. Like contains it contains like Spider-Man story, which includes Vulture at the very first meeting of Spider-Man and Vulture, and it's like it only contains the encounters that Spider-Man and the Vulture had throughout their career, and it's just a collection of them only. It does not involve other villain. It's just Spider-Man and Vulture's uh, interactions and their battles, the very first battles they had in the early Spider-Man comics. So yep, it's basically only a collection of all the battles that Spider-Man and Vulture had. So you can say it's a Spider-Man Vulture only comic, with all the time Vulture trying to devise a plot to bring down Spider-Man. And I think the early two stories of this book was drawn, I think it was done by Steve Ditko, and which is the like classic old school Spider-Man. And then various other writers pick it up, like slightly modern approach to it, as you can see, but still it has a classic feel to it. So which is why, and towards the end of the book there's the new style as well, like you can see the new style of Spider-Man in this book. So this book is basically, as I told you what it is just a collection of all the early battles that Spider-Man had with the Vulture, and it's really a cool book. Even if you are a fan of the Vulture, then you can really buy this one and see his origin story and what all it motivated him to go up against the wall crawler. So yep, this is Spider-Man versus the Vulture. And the final book that we have today is Jack Kirby's New God. uh I am a big fan of Jack Kirby. Have started collecting some of its old work very recently, and it's basically a story about, or I think it's an origin story of how the war between Darkseid and his son Orion, and the war between the two worlds, the new Genesis and Apocalypse, came to be. What was the reason for the war, and what happened in the end? And it basically dwells into it's basically it's an Orion story with Darkseid and Apocalypse playing the main antagonist, and it deals with how Orion sets up his journey, how comes to Earth, how he, with the help of humans, he is basically able to take down, or maybe he doesn't, but how is he basically able to destroy the plot the dark side has to destroy the world. And there's also a mention of like the anti-life equation and how dark side is desperate to get it from whatever it means, and for whatever it takes. So yep, this is a like very classy, very Jack Kirbysh. And I think, apart from Jack Kirby, like there are a few others as well, like Vince. I think you can see the artwork is ink done by Mike Royer and Vince Collector and Dr. Bruce